Then some group activities. These are some things, again, what I'm giving you now is all of the things that I would go through in that first meeting with the team. A lot of people don't talk about what you do in that first meeting. One of the things that you would do if you haven't already done it is set your team values. And I gave you a little bit of an idea as to the way that I would do it. Basically, you start off and you get everybody sitting down and you go, what would make you stay at Melbourne SEO Services? What would make you go? What things would have to happen? And you write it out on the whiteboard and you get it all listed down. Everybody throws it in and then you cross out any that kind of match up that are a little bit too similar. And then you take that list and then you basically get them to vote. That you get one thing they can give 3 points, one thing they can give 2 points, and one thing they can give 1 point. And that just basically ranks your team values, and then you rip that out, and then that becomes your team values. And then you're up to where I am, and you need to think about coming up with an acronym so you can actually remember them. Because I don't remember all of those team values, but we developed them as a team, and they had buy-in on it, and that's now we hire and fire based on that. Another good group activity is creating avatars. So thinking about, I told you about who my target market was. Really get your team members to get into the mind of your target market. Get them to explain everything about it. Come up with a name for that person. Come up with, how many kids they've got and when they go on holidays and, how much money they're bringing in and what car do they drive and where do they live, and create avatars so that way when you're doing your marketing and when you're creating anything, the team knows who it is you're actually trying to pitch to. That's a really powerful one. Similarly, I talked about the podcast earlier. Dean Jackson talks about this dream come true experience. Once you know who your avatar is, then map out what would be the ideal, amazing outcome that your target market would want. Like, what would it look like from a before, during, and after if you break your business into parts? The before is what would happen, for them for you to get their attention, and what would it be like as you educate them as to why they should do business with you? And then during, what is it like, how is the phone answered when someone speaks to them? And once they're into the funnel of actually delivering the work, how are they communicated with? And how do you have after sales support and you follow up and how they enjoy it? Literally map it out like a timeline and do it as a team, and then try and get that perfect dream come true experience. And then you try and start to work at, which pieces can I work on first? And then you might assign it to team members and say, okay, I want you to try and handle this. And when you think about it, earlier you've kind of already talked about the business as a whole, and you've talked about where they play their part. And then when you do something like a dream come true experience, then in their mind, they know exactly where they fit and how they can add value to that sequence. Obviously, reviewing and setting team goals is important. This is something that we're doing more and more now. Inside our base camp, we set up our goals for the quarter and get the team to help say, okay, I think we can get 5 new MVP clients this month. Okay, cool. Well, let's add that in and have that as a goal that we shoot towards. And then the other thing that I'd recommend as well as a group activity, I put one day aside where you work normal business hours. So just like you would normally, get them all in the same room, you're all on your laptops, and occasionally instead of sending them an email, you might peek over the laptop and say, can you do this, can you do that? What that actually does is it's almost like you're putting this memory in their mind of what it's like, even though they're working virtually, it's almost like they're still working with you. So you kind of gets them into the room and you're doing this day of work together, and then later on, further down the track, when you're all back virtual and you're all doing your own thing, there's still that memory that, hang on, I know what it's like to be working in the same space. So I think that's really valuable too. And then obviously have some fun stuff. We went and did bowling. Last time we got massage. For some reason, another attribute for a lot of my team members that I seem to attract in, a lot of them don't like doing very physical exercise. Last time we were kind of like, let's walk up a volcano or something like that, because up near Tagatai there's this volcano thing you can walk up. And they're like, oh, no, let's have team eating. So instead of team meeting, we now have team eating. And they'll pick a restaurant and we'll go out and we'll have dinner and that type of thing. Then we ended up getting a massage and things like that. I think last time we were there, we ended up doing bowling. But just that fun stuff that kind of bonds you together, you can only do it when you're over there. But again, it just kind of, when you play games and things like that, you really get to see what people are really like. They kind of start to open up. It's easy for them to let go. And it's just a great experience. the Filipino culture is not something that I've ever experienced before anywhere else. They're just, like Chris talked about, they're just hardworking, they're diligent, they want to do the best for you, and if you support them, they'll support you, and they'll give you 110%. I can't speak highly enough, and that's one of the reasons that we focus in on the Philippines. I've done a lot of outsourcing in different parts around the world, everything from States to Romania to Malaysia to India, and of all of the different assistants, best hit rate, I mean, I've got exceptions to the rule because we've still got team members in other parts of the world, but best hit rate for me has been in the Philippines. And it's close, so they're in a very similar time zone. There's a lot of benefits there. There's actually a video, we talk about some of the benefits for the Philippines, but that's why we keep rattling on about the Philippines. It works really well for people based here in Australia. They're only a few hours out as far as time zone differences. They're close if you want to go visit them. And they speak very good English. We found a lot of people who can write just as well. I've got 1 or 2 team members, especially from an SEO perspective, that have been with me for a few years now, that probably know the SEO space. They know how I think. Grace will go, here's an email that I've written up on how I think you would reply to this client. Can you take a quick look at it? And she says it better than I can. So once you train with them, and that's the real key about investing into them, when you hire someone locally and you're paying local wages, it's very difficult because of the cost per hour to invest a lot into training for them. Just it's the cost there. I mean, we're running a business here. The margin for error is very tight. So it's hard to invest a lot in training. But over in the Philippines, because of that geo arbitrage, means you can invest a lot more into training. So I'd make it as part of your daily task for them is say, I'll give you an hour's worth of training time, and get them to go through the 30-day challenge, get them to go through the SEO method 1, 2, and 3, and listen to the outsource profit machine, and do all the lights, camera, profit workshop.